And then these jokers can't even fix what they're supposed to be fixing when they're elected to Congress and the Senate to go do that job. They don't do it or they won't do it. But we keep sending these jokers. Nancy Pelosi should have long retired. But the fact of the matter is, give us our money back.
So J.D. Vance gave some stinging words for Democrats today, talking about this potential shutdown.
You don't shut the government down. We have disagreements about healthcare policy, but you don't shut the government down. You don't use your policy disagreements as leverage to not pay our troops, to not have essential services of government actually function. You don't say the fact that you disagree about a particular tax provision is an excuse for shutting down the people's government and all the essential services that come along with it. If you look at what Chuck Schumer has said in the past consistently, it's whatever our disagreements are, let's negotiate with them. Let's talk about them. Let's figure out a bipartisan solution, but you don't shut the government down. In other words, you don't put a gun to the American people's head and say, unless you do exactly what Senate and House Democrats want you to do, we're going to shut down your government. That's exactly what they're proposing out there. Now, we have to remember, they're very frustrated. They say that they're very frustrated about the fact that this negotiation has not taken place until today. But if you look at the original thing they did with this negotiation, it was a $1.5 trillion spending package, basically saying to the American people, we want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care, while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation. We thought it was absurd. We told them it was absurd, and now they come in here saying that if you don't give us everything that we want, we're going to shut down the government. We think that's preposterous. We think it's totally unacceptable, and we think the American people are going to suffer because these guys won't do the right thing. Now, I want to make one final point here. You will hear a lot from Senate Democrats, from House Democrats about the fact that American health care policy is broken. Well, we know that American health care policy is broken. We've been trying to fix it for the 8 months that we've been in office, but every single thing that they accused about being broken about American health care is policy that Democrats have supported for the past decade.
Me and Shelley called this earlier on in the month. We told you it was going to happen. They were either going to kick the can and then kick the can and then kick the can until this time next year, or somebody would say something that was so outlandish that would make everybody step away from the bargaining table. And that's what has happened. The Democrats say you will continue to fund Obamacare through these COVID expansions that include illegal aliens and people who make 300% of the poverty level. But we need to continue to pay for that. Republicans are saying, no, we don't. COVID's over. People are back to work. We should not carry all of this debt, all of this load for the American people. Democrats say, absolutely, we need something. You have to give us a bone to go back to our constituents and say, aha, we got this thing. And the president is saying, absolutely not. This is the beauty, the absolute beauty of Trump having just this one term, because he doesn't need a reason to negotiate with them. Putting JD out front, imagine this. Think back to Biden and Harris. Imagine Kamala Harris having to give that speech JD just gave. JD is looking more and more presidential every day, every single day. He came out, he said what it was, he told the truth, he shamed the devil and said, listen, this is what we need to do. I love this from him. I love his posture. I love his word choice. I love the way he came across clean and flat. And it was a beautiful thing. And I'm looking so much forward to seeing him say much more things, because we're not going to get a deal, folks. This government is going to shut down. And a lot of government employees are going to lose their jobs. Trump's already said it. This is not going to be a sit at home for 3 weeks and watch us pay you anyway. It will not be a furlough. You will be rifted.
Wow. Well, Democrats are outraged that they won't be able to fund health care for illegal aliens as a shutdown looms. Mm-hmm. And thanks to President Trump and his administration, the entire country knows that Democrats are willing to shut down the entire government so they can spend tens of billions on health care for people who should not even be here. And Nancy Pelosi just went off during her interview with NBC.
The president has said, I hear what they're saying. It's all unserious and ridiculous. In fact, I've listened to their and I tell them to go themselves. So that's Can't believe I use that word. My kids will be shocked. My grandchildren will be further shocked. I'm just quoting the president of the United States. And so I think the leverage springs not from any shared values with him, if that's what he thinks healthcare is about, and yourself, but that it is something that they're hearing from constituents, that they do not want to see the healthcare costs go up if the Affordable Care Act subsidies are not extended. The president has said, I hear what they're...
Oh, wow. Shelley, what's your response to that?
What the hell? What the fuck was she talking about? Number one, that's what I want to say. I mean, what was she talking about? That's number one. Number two, what makes me upset again, I think the government needs to shrink like almost like down to a third of whatever it is right now, period, across the board. I think we have too much government, it's too big. But what makes me upset is that not only do they kick the can down the curb, these issues are never really resolved or solved, but these jokers will still get paid if it shuts down.
Exactly.
They will still get their 175 or plus, salary. They still get paid. So they get paid for all the vacations, the, out of office, whatever. They get paid if the government functions, and if it does, whatever way, they still get paid. And the American people, even if government quote unquote is funded, we're still paying more for it. We don't get the what do they call the Cadillac plans, if you will, but yet they get the Cadillac plans off of our taxpayer dollars, and then these jokers can't even fix what they're supposed to be fixing when they're elected to Congress and the Senate to go do that job. They don't do it or they won't do it. But we keep sending these jokers. Nancy Pelosi should have long retired. But the fact of the matter is, give us our money back. Give every American, I'm tired of funding everybody else's health care. Give us our money back. We can get our own health savings plans, our own cost. The health care spending in the U.S. budget is, let me put my stat here, about $5 trillion, which is about 20%, 1/5 of America's GDP. Why? And look what we get for it: mismanagement, bureaucracy, lower and poor health outcomes. What are we paying for? We're paying for the gibberish that Nancy Pelosi spits out. We're paying for all of these, lefties and progressive policies that don't benefit many people, and certainly not the majority of us who are paying the bills. Give us our money back. Keep your hands out. It's our money, not yours. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, Tyrone. I mean, the clock is ticking to fund the government, and the Senate returned to D.C. today. Congressional leaders are slated to meet with President Trump to negotiate a deal, but it doesn't look like it's going to go. We have until midnight Wednesday. So does that mean it's midnight tonight, or is it midnight tomorrow night? That's
tomorrow
what I'm confused.
Night, the last day. The fiscal year is October the 1st.
Oh, I see. Okay. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, look, Trump and the Republicans will win the perception argument. It won't affect the midterms because America has a very short memory, and we're still a long way out. The government does need to shrink further. It does. The way that the Democrats are going about this, even John Fetterman has a problem with it. Okay, he's out there warning Democrats, and he has voted in favor of the Republican bill on the Senate side. Okay, so when you lose John Fetterman, right now, if the Democrats or the Republicans, for that matter, if any of these people were serious about solving the healthcare finance problem in America, and I want to be very clear, we don't have a healthcare problem. Princes and potentates come from all over the world to get healthcare right here. We have a healthcare finance problem. And the way to solve that is by these congressional delegations in the states putting pressure on the governors and the state legislators. We have a law, goes back to 1945, the McCarran-Ferguson Act, which says the states have the purview over healthcare insurance regulation. The states have either monopolies or duopolies in these states that do not operate across state lines. if you open up competition, interstate competition for healthcare insurance, you will lower the cost dramatically. Okay. And the fact that, and this is not rocket science, it's not brain surgery. That law is out there telling the states that they can act on this tomorrow. The fact that they're not doing it is a miscarriage of justice. And it's sinking America into a situation where if you're a retiree and you don't have some way to mitigate healthcare costs, you're risking losing your entire nest egg that you worked 30 or 40 years to build. Okay. And these legislators know this, and yet they fail to act. So it's a shame, but they have but to do one thing, and that is to open up. Maryland, Westmore tomorrow could get up and say, I'm going to put a bill in emergency session. We're going to open up competition across state lines. He won't do it because Blue Cross will have a field day with him. Okay. But that's what needs to be done. You do that and you will lower these costs dramatically.
Yeah. Well, programs like Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid will continue along with the Postal Service, Veterans Affairs, hospitals and clinics, and Immigration and Border Control security activities. They'll all continue, but federal employees will likely go without pay. However, a string of agencies will see their services hampered by furloughs, like the IRS, the Small Business Administration. Housing programs may also see a delay in rental assistance and loans. And as you mentioned, Nicole, if this shutdown goes through, President Trump is saying federal workers deemed non-essential furloughed, but the Office of OMB released a memo last week that directed agencies to use this opportunity to consider reduction in the force.
Right.
So this is major.
But do you all know that this happens? This has been happening almost every year or so for the last
my
at least
whole life,
years.
right?
Right.
Probably my whole life. Yeah.
Either the shutdown or the budget. They can't get the budget, one or the other, in between the set. It's always, this is what they do. This is what they're supposed to be elected for. We don't get a budget. We get these CBOs or continuing resolutions. I'm sorry.
CRs,
Right. We don't get anything substantial. We get these temporary fixes, these temporary tax cuts, and then the next year people don't know if they're going to go up or down, or if you're going to owe or whatever. This is not how our government, number one, it's supposed to have been, and it's not how big our government is supposed to be. I don't understand. I keep saying it. I've been saying it to the top of my lungs. I don't know why Americans keep voting for quote unquote more government, bigger government, whatever little interest you think you get for whatever benefit, it's not benefiting you. We're the ones, and there's basically the middle class, which is shrinking rapidly. We're the ones paying the cost because the poor don't pay the taxes. The rich can basically tax themselves out and have all the accountants that they want to by law to come up with not paying the taxes. Fine, but they still pay the most. But the middle class, we're the ones who are bearing the brunt of it all. And look what we're getting. We get more crime, more taxes. We get overrun schools and less education. What are we getting for? And then these jokers will walk away every day. I don't care how long the furlough is. They will still get paid.